Hey family, welcome to I Love Me Me Me. So, my computer is broke, y'all. It's actually I'm taking it to the shop today, but it is March 1st, and I wanted to make sure that I went ahead and kept my word and came to you guys and gave you a question of the day video for the entire month of March. I will be recording and uploading a video every single day. Thank you to all of the people who have actually sent me questions, and obviously this is my very first one. It is actually about me, and I thought how befitting to go ahead and start the month off right by speaking about me. So the question of the day is, what is my relationship status, and what have I learned in some of the relationships and dating situations that I have been in? So, first of all, let me just say that my current relationship status is that I am actually engaged. Now, if you guys have been rolling with your girl since last year, or even I've been on YouTube for 3 years now, or just about. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, yeah, if you've been rocking with me longer than last year, then you know that I met my now fiance, and we have a daughter together, and you guys hear her sometimes in the videos. I still have yet to show her. Anyway, so yes, we are engaged, right? So that's that. And then what are some of the dating situations that I've been in, and actually what lessons have I learned? I'm going to share with you guys a couple things about me and my life, right? So I was pretty much in a situation as a child where I grew up with all relationships being around me all the time. Even though, as I found out later on, my aunts and my parents were not necessarily married. Everybody, let's say that, at least everybody wasn't married. In my childlike eyes, I viewed everybody as being married and in these healthy relationships. And in my family, they kept all the children as children. So it's basically like when the adults are speaking, we're not speaking, and then unless we're spoken to, right? Or you know, we had to be children in our relation in my family life. And so some of the things that people go through or deal with themselves are not things that I had to deal with, like helping to pay the bills. I never had to do anything like that. So I was always a child, and I didn't have to deal with any real world or real life situations when I was a child. And that absolutely flowed into the dating relationship life as well, because in my household there were no dating. So I went ahead and I was sneaking around like some of my friends and everybody else that I knew. But as far as I was actually a big chicken too, so I didn't even sneak around too much, right? But one of the things that I did absolutely learn, you see my daughter's car seat. Anyway, I'm sitting in my car trying to record this so I can go ahead and make sure that I get this out. So anyway, one of the first lessons that I learned is to date. So when I met my ex-husband, yes, I'm a divorcee, but now again, I'm currently engaged. So I met my ex-husband when I went to the United States Navy. Yay me, you are welcome for my service. So I went into the Navy, and I met him at the age of 18, and we got married at the age of me being 21. And what I learned is that I did not get a chance to date. And so again, you have to remember, I'm in my household with my family. I grew up there till I was 18. When I left at 18, I went to the US military, and then I met my now ex-husband. So there was no dating for me. And I really wish that my parents would have actually taught me the ins and outs of dating or relationships in general, what you should look for, what should be acceptable, what's not acceptable. Like I always call them deal breakers, or what's the other words I use? Red flags. So those were not the things that I was personally taught within the household that I lived in. Like, I seen their relationship, but they didn't specifically like sit me down and say, you know what, these are the things that you should look for. This is how a man is supposed to treat you. If you're getting treated this way, then that's a no-go. Definitely remember that the guy that you are dating is the guy that you would marry, like, etc. Just things like that. I had no idea about those things. I learned, like most of you guys out there, the school of hard knocks, which is just life in general. So that's one of the first things that I wish I known and wish I had learned, which is to date, 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 date. The second thing that I learned with being in relationships, so again with my ex-husband, we during the course of our dating stages, before we got engaged. No, actually, it was after. It doesn't matter. But the point is this: the second thing that I realized is that you should not tell your potential spouse, tell your potential mate your deal breakers. What you should be doing is watching and really paying attention to the real person that they're showing you. So the lesson that I learned was not to share them, right? So I'm making sure that you guys know not to share your deal breakers with your potential, because then they can hide them from you. And that is exactly what my ex-husband did to me. So during the course of our dating, I revealed my top 3 super no-go deal breakers, and he hid them from me. And I didn't even find out until right before we were about to get married, and then all of a sudden I found out the deal breakers. But by that time I was already sucked in, and because I did not get any of the training that I'm trying to pass along to you guys, because I didn't get any training, there was no YouTube back then or anybody really talking about these things. Everybody was just kind of going through life and going through their relationships the best way that they knew how. So there was really no me asking questions, and then I didn't even know what questions to ask, right? So by the time that me and my mom, because we did have this conversation, but I was actually in my 30s when I was asking her, like, how come you never sat me down and like gave me the ins and outs of all this stuff? And honestly, she was just very straightforward and straight to the point and direct, and she basically just told me I could not pass along that information to you because I didn't have it. I didn't date myself. So I understood, and but for me, I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I break the cycle, and now I have a daughter of my own, and I want her to have an actual plan, or at least an actual something that she can look back on, or even just come to me and ask me, period, and say, hey Ma, this is what's going on, how do I handle this situation? Or at least feel comfortable enough to be able to speak to her mother about dating and relationships, because life is hard enough, and it does not have to be super hard if you get the proper training in your household is where it really starts. But if you get the proper training, or at least have people around you that you can go to and ask questions with, then that will absolutely help to decrease the divorce rate, which is something that I preach here all the time. We have to get the tips and the tools to be order to we have to get the tips and tools so we can use them in our everyday lives in order to create these happy, healthy, romantic relationships. Because as I always say, or at least I've been saying it, for at least the last year, that knowledge is power. Really, now y'all getting to see my bloopers. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is better. So doesn't matter if you actually have the information. If you never apply it to your life, it just does not matter. So that was the second thing that I learned. Do not share your deal breakers. Just watch the person, let them see what they're actually doing, what they're bringing to the table, and then move on from there. And then the last thing that I learned, or the last lesson that I'm going to share, is just that you have to make sure, or you have to realize that everybody that you go out on a date with will not be the one. Right. You have to realize that everybody that you go out on a date with will not be the one. I had to learn that the hard way, because again, the life that I grew up in, everybody was in a relationship around me. I was always around my siblings, always around my first cousins, always around my aunts and uncles. That was the life that I was accustomed to. So naturally, when I got out into this dating world, I just assumed, and what does assuming do? Right. So I assumed that everybody wanted to be in relationships, but not only just relationships, everybody wanted to be in a healthy relationship. So I had to learn that everybody that I was going out on these dates with, when one didn't work out, then I would go out on another date, or whatever, or I didn't like them, they didn't like me, whatever it was, we didn't click. So I had to learn that every guy that I went out with does not mean that he was the one. Now, and I do have a video about are you missing out on your the one. So I will, of course, link that above and in the description box below. But these are a few lessons that I learned throughout my dating experience and within my relationship. And now I'll just close out with two things. The first thing is that now me meeting my fiance is a completely different, it's just a completely different relationship. It was not, I'm saying was as if we're not together. It is a really great relationship. We speak about everything. We both ask a multitude of questions. We're both very respectful to each other's opinion. Whether we agree or not, it does not matter. We let each other speak. There is no yelling, screaming. There was anytime that we got together, especially in the very beginning, anytime we went out on a date, he made the date. He also made the date before we left the last date. So I really love that about him. He was the first guy to actually do that, and he was the first guy that did a lot of stuff, honestly. But I'll say another thing, that he was definitely a man of his word. Whenever he said that he would come be there at a specific time or call me or something like that, he definitely made sure that he did just that. And that really stood out to me. And then also, finally, about my fiance, I'll just say that it was easy to fall for him because he was very, very vulnerable, and he shared some deep things that happened to him from his past and just things that he's dealing with, and it really just made me feel like, okay, he's really opening up and sharing his life, sharing his world with me. He wants me to be a part of it, and it was really easy for me to just fall for him. So those are just some of the things that I learned, some of the lessons, and now my fiance. And then the final thing that I will say is that I have finally, friends and family, I have finally finished my 3 online courses. If you've been listening to any of my videos for any part of time, I actually stopped talking about it just because I hadn't put in the time and energy and effort to get these online courses completed. And so I stopped talking about it last year. But they are complete. And on March 15th, I have three online courses that I will be releasing. Of course, I'll put the information in the description box below. And yeah, you guys, I'm gonna make them very affordable, especially for my audience. I will have a discount code, so it will be more affordable for my audience and subscribers to go ahead and support me that way. But the very first program is for my super single people. I love saying that. I just, there's no disrespect. I just like the word super single. But anyway, this is for you guys who are out there not dating at all. You're still trying to work on yourself. You're trying to gather as much information as you can. So this is a program that is going to help you understand exactly what you should be doing, what you need, what you want, what you desire. It's going to help you with that plan, and so you can gather as much information as you can. So when you get into the dating phase, which is my second program, you can't see my fingers. Anyway, so when you get into the second program, which is the dating phases, it's going to help you navigate and show you what you need to do once you get into the dating phase. So the first one, again, you got to learn about yourself, and then learn about what you want, need, and desire from yourself, as well as when you get into the dating stage. And then the second program is for those who are actually dating, and it's going to help you navigate through the dating phases and the dating stages, so you know exactly, like, some of the things that you need to ask, some of the things that you need to pay attention to, some of the things that you yourself need to be doing and bringing to the table, etc. And then the third program is for all of you lovelies who are in these long-term relationships, or even married for multiple years or whatever it is, but you need a boost in your relationship. But also, maybe you got into your marriage or into your relationship, but you kind of had no idea, you're kind of still winging it. This will be the program for you. Now, of course, everybody could relate to something in all 3 of the programs, because most of us have been in relationships. Most of us have been in the stages where we're like, you know what, no, I'm just holding off on dating for now. And then most of us have actually been in the actual dating phases. So you can get something from each of the programs. Again, that will be released, each and every one of them will be released on March 15th. I cannot wait for you guys to partake in those. And yeah, so definitely give me thumbs up. I know that this was a different type of video, but go ahead and give me thumbs up because the information is still relevant. And then of course, if this is your very first time here, this is your very first time to I Love Me, go ahead and join the team here, because here at I Love Me, I'm supplying you guys with the tips and tools in order to have happy, healthy, romantic relationships where you can help to be a part of the decreasing the divorce rate. And so you will not be a statistic. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. The entire month of March, you guys will see me. I just wanted to definitely come here, keep up with my promises. My computer decided to die a few days ago. I did not want to go back on my word. So I don't know how many days you will see just the raw footage and no editing at all, but we will make this work. All right. I love you guys and thank you so much. Deuces.